Hello and welcome to another episode of Company of Heroes History. This, I believe, is the 8th episode of the series, and today we're going to be looking at what I think is the very best game from patch 1.3. This will be the last one we look at. We've only done 3 episodes in 1.3, but that's because 1.3 was really only out for about a month before 1.4 came along and kind of worked as a hotfix for some of the bugs that 1.3 introduced. And introduce a couple of new changes of its own and change the meta slightly. So I think we'll move on after that one. But before we move on, we have a fantastic game here. We have Sepha playing under Sephlol in the east of Semois. And his opponent playing on the Smurf Ryan is Nystrom, playing as the Americans. Now this, I think, is, I've reviewed a lot of games that I sort of vaguely remember. But couldn't really recall specific instances that would happen. I remember watching like Architect versus TH15, for example, because it might have been the very first replay I ever watched. A lot of the other games, I remember people, but I don't remember anything that happened. In this game, I remember one thing that happens later in the replay, and I'm really excited to see it. See it again and see if it actually is how I remember it going down, or whether my memory has changed things over time. Anyway, we'll get to that later. In the meantime, Sepha, this is Nystrom. Nystrom has gone for a standard 2 engineer start with the barracks, come for some riflemen. In the meantime, Sepha, as we switch to his perspective, has gone for what looks like a double pioneer start and 1 MG. First engagement's going to be over by this little house over here. Very good house here because it covers that cutoff to the fuel on the side and covers this plus 16 munitions. So you really don't want the rifleman to get in there and sort of push you off those resources if you're going to try and focus on that side. Those riflemen there did choose to retreat away from the house and have now given Nystrom the opportunity to get there. Now, it is possible, and how some of these houses, this one is probably going to be tricky. Some houses you can just circle strafe around. And then as the MG has to pack up and then change around, it will... Ooh, it looks like it's just got about into that corner. It's really fighting fire with fire. But yeah, it is possible to circle strafe houses. And it looks like Nystrom is doing that and it's been pretty successful so far. I can see in the south he went Jeep second on the minimap. I don't want to cut away from this fight just yet. I mean, it's fantastic engagement by Sepha there. Managing to keep his MG alive and in the house and forcing away those riflemen. In the meantime, the Jeep did come down to the south here. Trying to take out these pioneers that were capping this munitions, plus 60 munitions, and have managed to force them away. Done a good job there, but these the addition of these Vox Grenadiers should be plenty to force them back. Sepha has also reinforced this side with the barbed wire, pretty typical move there. It's going to force that Jeep to take the long way around to get back to his kind of side of the map. A couple of nice engagements there by Sepha, but if you look at the map control, this entire time he's really only had this plus 10 fuel point and this strategic point connected. So he hasn't really had any income whatsoever. So I think, although you'd say in terms of manpower, Nystrom has lost those first 2 engagements, or lost the first engagement, he has been able to take quite a strong lead in map control, I would suggest. Let's have a look at that. Yeah, here we go. And then 1 extra munitions point captured, a little bit extra munitions coming from here, and he's right on top of this the other plus 10 munitions. Anyways, move here now. Interesting engagement here. A rifle plus Volks. It looks like a couple of those riflemen were in green cover, which kind of brings that engagement to an end sooner than it might have been otherwise. I think at this stage, people hadn't really kind of unlocked and understood the power of the Jeep and how it could be used to push people out of cover and things like that. Sepha did a fantastic job of keeping his units in cover. Really, really strong there. This rifleman squad looked like it for a second there. It was going to try and flank around, but obviously that's not going to work with this barbed wire that Sepha set up earlier. Nystrom's a bit pickled here. These riflemen have got very low health. Look at that, 6 models left, but still only half health. They could go down very quickly indeed if he's not too careful. Yep, they see one go down there. He decides to get in the church. Not a bad decision, but I think these Vox Grenadiers at this range, with this green cover, I quite fancy the Vox there. Yeah, the riflemen forced to move away after they lose a couple of models and are in danger of going down. One reinforcing rifleman squad coming back onto the field. We have an engineer squad around here as well. No flamers? It seems like... Oh, he decides to put the engineers in that house just to prevent the MG getting in there. But, I mean, there's such a force here going... moving in from Sepha that I think he's going to be able to force that out pretty quickly, I would imagine. MG choosing to come here, using this barbed wire covering its flank to sort of cover the back. And so he's setting up. Is he going to be able to change the target to take on these riflemen? So it doesn't look like he is. The riflemen at short range with these Volks. The Volks are going to be forced to retreat. Yeah, MG might have to retreat here as well now. A very good move there by Nystrom. Took a lot of losses, but has been able to win the main engagement, force those away. Oh, and the Volks Grenadiers on retreat, going down. Will the MG go down as well? Jeep chasing down. This could be a huge moment for Nystrom if he's able to take this out as well. 2 squads wiped at this stage of the game. Yeah, there it goes. Fantastic move. The other Volks Grenadier squad as well, forced to retreat. And now we're in a situation where I saw that Nystrom just managed to get the Mark II grenades upgraded as well. He still has his Jeep on the field. He's got 3 rifleman squads in a Jeep. Really nice, balanced opening game army. Bit of capping power, bit of power in the fights, and the extra vision that the Jeep gives you. Really nice. 4th rifleman squad coming out too. Meanwhile, Sepha on the other hand is rocking with 3 pioneers, a Volks Grenadier, and an MG. Now it looks like he may have got some tech on the field. Yep. His tier 2 is on the way. Sepha was one person alongside Ahenian who was really experimenting with tier 2, kind of among the first to do it, but tier 2 was still considered to be really quite weak. Oof. Grenade went in there, using the engineers to pull off the flank. Oh, gets the grenade, although Sepha did manage to get out of the building. From inside the building, the grenade still managed to do some damage. That MG may just be saved just in time by those MP40 Volks Grenadiers. They do save it. Awkward situation here. A lot of wire over here from Sepha. He's managed to wire in one of his pioneers, seemingly deliberately. He's going to keep out those rifleman squads. They won't be able to cut that. MP40's moving over on the left, trying to make sure that this plus 60 munitions remains capped. I think as a tier 2, you know, even more so than some other Wehrmacht strategies, you really need that munitions income, whether it's for the Panzerschrecks or the later the LMGs or the grenades. You need that munitions early game more than the fuel. Just if you're able to get Veteran C1, Veteran C2, you'll be in good shape. I'll be interested to see if Sepha does go for any veterancy in this game. Wasn't that common, even with people who were going for a tier 2 strategy. In the early days, people didn't necessarily get the infantry veterancy. I think the first person I remember doing that was probably Aniketos, who used to do an interesting blitz strategy using stormtroopers, and he would get the veterancy for the stormtroopers first and foremost. But tier 2, I believe, it didn't really become sort of the main way of playing. You know, it didn't dominate the meta at all in the early days to get that veterancy on your infantry. But we'll see if Sepha is among the first to do that here as we move into this game. He's moving out onto the map now, trying to just kind of keep his corner of the map over here. You know, he's nice. This is a really nice group here, pushing forward. Such a good combination. The Grenadiers are pretty good in static engagements. Inside engagements with unupgraded riflemen, and then with the addition of the flamers, they're able to get those things out of the house pretty sharpish there. Engagement going in the middle, 1 rifleman squad is pinned here. I'd be worried he's been pinned for a long time. I'd have been worried about a flank coming in there, but nothing does come just yet. Nystrom has now disconnected this fuel point and got out of there by the looks of things. Maybe going to go and get this munitions as well in the north. That could be the next target. Sepha coming back in to reconnect that, get that munitions income back, rolling back in. We'll see how that works. I think it's an interesting dynamic how switching over, I'll just show the type map very quickly, how switching over the plus 60 munitions and the plus 5 fuel kind of changed the dynamic of the map. I mean, that changes the way that the cutoffs work, right? You can still control the plus 16 munitions even if you lose the cutoff closest to your base. Which isn't the case today, because it would be over here and would be cut off by losing this point here. Losing the second closest one, I should say. A little bit of a different dynamic, meaning that the munitions income is easier to secure than the kind of little bit of additional fuel income. in these old versions of the map, whereas today, the kind of somewhat incidental +5 fuels are a bit easier to lock down than the very important +16 munitions, which are off at the side next to the VPs. A little bit of a different thing there. Interesting to see. It's a bit frustrating that the flamer hasn't moved on to these windows to fire into that. I do believe that they should have the range to do so. Engineers and riflemen gearing up for a flank here. Where's that MG gone now? It's sitting in the bunker back there. It doesn't go for the common position of behind this house just here because of the blind spot. It's gone a little bit further forward, a little bit more aggressive. Oh, MP40s in the north. Maybe it'll take out the rifleman squad. They may get taken out on retreat. One grenade goes into the church. Takes out a little bit. There we go. Now we see the flamer pushing out. I wonder why that wasn't firing before. A little bit strange there. Maybe that's something that... Ooh, now here comes the rifleman squad trying to retreat across all that negative cover. The grenadiers shooting from a distance, but do they manage to take it? They do. Evening the score somewhat in those earlier engagements. But now the bars on the field, this could make things a little bit trickier. Very low health squads here. It'd be interesting to see if he goes for a triage center. I mean, today looking at this, I would be absolutely terrified of going out into the map, but triage center was not a common upgrade in the days. It goes forward, puts the grenade in. See the damage? Oh, it goes out the other side of the church. The suppression ability being used up here, and we do see terror from Sepha. Would have been interesting if that grenade had gone straight through the church and landed on some of these mines that Sepha's just putting down. Could have been big trouble. Yeah, there's riflemen now super low health. They do still have their bars, are still causing havoc, but they're going to have to move away. That suppressed squad in the end gets inside the half-track. Let's take the half-track and maybe have to drive away. They were under a little bit of pressure from those riflemen. The suppression ability was just so powerful at this stage. Would suppress and then pin a squad almost immediately. Man, those bars actually at that short range are doing quite a lot more damage to the half-track than I'm used to seeing today as well. Wow. At that short range, I think maybe they're quite powerful. MP40's coming forward now. MP40's too, struggling with the health. That first level of veterancy would really help with that. Although it's important to note that the first level of veterancy wasn't as powerful as it is today. When they get in these builds of the game, the rate at which the health was restored on units after veterancy 1 was after you upgraded veterancy 1, that rate was really heavily increased in a later patch. But at this stage it wasn't quite as strong as we would know it today. Let's switch over to Nystrom's side quickly and see what's going on over here. Nice bit of the map. He's lost the middle, but he's got plenty of income, fuel and munitions. He's got lots of good upgrades, good tech on his rifleman. Looks like he's got an observation post on his fuel and now on the +16 munitions. So he's really got a good income coming in there. Checking the tech in his base. He went for the supply yard to get that help with the upkeep on these rifleman squads, and now he switched to a weapon support center later on. That's an interesting and good choice, I think. That was probably getting a weapon support center and getting a bunker was a really common response to seeing medic bunkers on the field. Getting a mortar, to take out those medic bunkers was probably the dominant choice and the dominant response at this stage. Seeing tier 2, the vibe was don't tech necessarily. Instead, get yourself that weapon support center out. We see the wire cutters upgrade, that 50 munitions upgrade that was later removed from the game. So Nystrom, excuse me, will now be able to start cutting through these this pin over here and start harassing on this side of the map. In the meantime, it looks like he's kind of a stalemate here. Nystrom really keen to keep hold of these strategic points, keep his income coming in. Oh, it sounds like something going up here. It's a veteran C1 rifleman squad firing on these pioneers, does go down. Meanwhile, on the south munitions point, Nystrom may come in just in time to take out this pioneer squad that's building. Not quite. Now this is this takes me back. So observation posts at this point in the game, when they weren't fully built like this, they had just been built a little bit. They would have full HP, despite only having been built slightly, and would take damage at the standard rate. They wouldn't take the additional damage they take today. So one very cheesy and very abusive strategy that some people would do is that they would put partially built observation posts on key cutoff points or key resource points. It was particularly powerful on Angerville, if I remember, and it would get to the point where the opponent would have to spend a lot of time trying to take it out, a lot of firepower battering down on the thing, and then you could just delete it at the last second. And you would be fully refunded all of those manpower that you invested. So if you had a little bit of a manpower surplus in the early game and you pop that down, you could basically, with impunity, prevent somebody from... Oh, that squad! They got pinned, and the grenade going in there as well. A lot of munitions went into that engagement, but certainly a lot of it did a lot of damage. Yeah, so you could lock down areas pretty much for free. I love how you can see on the minimap the medics running around, these giant white blobs. You can't quite see it now because they've just gone out of shot, but they really are huge. And in the meantime, we see a double mortar attack here from Nystrom. He's really, really, really desperate to take out these bunkers. Yep, here we go on the minimap now. Here we see the medics. I think the range that they used to travel was absolutely enormous to try and pick up casualties. Pioneer squad goes down in the middle there. In the meantime, a rifleman squad tries to come around and flank on that. Didn't count on that second medic bunker at the back there with the MG inside. I wonder the damage that these mortars are doing. American mortars, of course, do slightly more damage, I believe, than the Axis ones, although they don't quite have the range of the Axis mortars. They also... Oh, riflemen in the north are going to have to get out of there quickly. Going to see how good Nystrom's reactions are, of course. Very fast indeed. He gets out of there just in time. Did get the decap though. Pioneer squad moving over. Looked like it was going to try and decap that high munitions point. Isn't going to be able to because of the observation post that's on there. Big squad of grenadiers moving forward now to the north. We'll just have to see if Sepha decides to send some of his own up north. Another medic came out here, tried to pick up one of those pioneers, wasn't able to. Doing a lot of running around in circles. Yeah, huge now. 3 squads of grenadiers pushing this point. Even though they're only using their small arms fire, they should be able to get through that relatively quickly, I would think. Take that down, cut the income, make it capable. That's a big moment, I think. And it should be fine. Interesting that I don't believe that Nystrom has yet chosen his commander. We're quite late in his company, excuse me. A little bit late in the game for that. I'm just thinking if he had a Calliope barrage now, could have really done a lot of damage with those as they were clumped up around that munitions point trying to take it out. It's also notable that Sepha is moving a lot of units to the north. I don't know how strong his forces are in the middle. He's got to be a little bit careful he doesn't move too far away and lose too much stuff up there. Although it seems like he does have the dominant force on the field. One of the reasons for that has got to be Nystrom floating a huge amount of all his resources, really. Maybe he's kind of saving himself for some tech that comes out later. Maybe he wants... Maybe if he is going armor, maybe he wants to get some Calliopes out and he's saving up to get a couple of Calliopes on the field relatively quickly. Huge push on the north here now from Sepha. Double capping some points, couple of units, making sure it caps it twice as fast. If only that was how the mechanics work. Of course it isn't. One bunker does go down in the middle now. It'd be interesting if Sepha tries to move up, take this again, and then fire over the church to try and take out the second one. Suppression ability going down again. Great micro of the suppression ability. You know that he's microing because he actually suppress 2 squads. If you click the ability and then right click between different squads, you could actually suppress more than one if you did it very quickly. In the meantime, another little engagement coming down here. MP40 is pushing around. You know, there's not a lot of damage coming from those grenadiers because they were suppressed. But on the other hand, only one squad there. Grenade did go in. This MP40 squad is playing with fire, getting reinforced from the half track, while at the same time being shot. You decides to use the Panzerfaust to take out that mortar. It does go down, as does the rifleman squad, dropping a bar in the process. It's also important, of course, that this the medic bunker is sending over these medics to try and pick up some of these casualties. One being picked up here, contributing towards the next thing, but we do now see, as expected, I'll show you in a second, depending on whether this rifleman squad gets away. Veteran C1 really doesn't want to lose that. Yep, here we go. The Sherman Calliope now on the field. Now, if I remember correctly, in patch 1.3, the Calliope had been fixed somewhat. There was, to a degree it had been fixed. It didn't do the exact same damage. Its main gun wasn't as effective as a mainline Sherman. Still very effective, but I believe it had a reload that was, I believe it was half as fast. The reload took twice as long as the mainline Sherman, making it less effective as a mainline tank. while still being pretty effective. I believe that was in 1.3. It may have been 1.4. I may be mistaken. I'll check that when making the video. So it kind of sat in that middle ground then, between the mainline Sherman and an artillery piece. And I think it went some way to balancing it out, having been an incredibly powerful ability in the early game. Let's see if he tries now to take out that. Oh, the mines we saw being planted earlier coming to play there. Actually, a miracle that squad didn't go down. It had such low health. RNG has been moved back to the secondary house back here. This is a very popular house because it just about covered this munitions point, I believe, if I'm remembering correctly. That was a very popular house in these early days of the game. Kind of the equivalent of this one here, to cover the munitions point, even from a little bit of a distance. Very strong one. This one here, not quite so popular for some reason. I think you could throw grenades over this hedgerow, for example. One way to turtle them out. Nystrom, yeah, I think now you can kind of see the reason for him stocking up his munitions in this way. If he wants the munitions for the Calliope barrages, and he knew he was going to go on a late game, there's not really any benefit if he wasn't tech into the motor pool or anything. Wasn't really any benefit to choosing that early, and if he had to make a last-minute decision to change to something else, he would have been able to do so. Sherman here doing some target practice on a medic. This is very bad. The Geneva Convention would not appreciate this. Sepha saying his medic bunker isn't working. I'll just switch to his perspective really quickly and see what's going on. Haven't seen... I did see him pick up a couple of casualties earlier. Sepha's indicating doesn't spawn units. I wonder what he means by that. Whether it's because, of course, back in the day, the UI didn't show whether or not, or the amount of casualties that had already been picked up with the medic bunker was a little bit more difficult to tell and to gauge when you should have been getting a unit out of that. Should have been getting some grenade squads going in there. The Sherman Calliope comes in and gets 2 hit mine criticals, meaning it doesn't get the engine damage and is able to scoot out of there completely unharmed. If I was Sepha, I would be pretty annoyed by that, but that's one of those things. A little bit unfortunate, but that's how Company of Heroes goes. One of the joys of it, one of its charms, is how unpredictable some of the engagements can be. Slowed down a little bit now. It looks like Nystrom is prioritizing taking out this med bunker before he takes any more engagements. He's got a mortar over there, hammering away from a distance. Rifleman squad now coming in as well. I think maybe to spot as much as anything. You might want to hop in that house and get a little bit of vision that way. Engaging with this Grenadier squad is always going to be a little bit dangerous. I mean, for a couple of reasons. He's chosen to suppress them. I mean, it's always a little bit dangerous here because if he's not able to quickly take out the medics, of course, those casualties could be picked up and immediately recycled into a Grenadier squad, of course, because you can't see in the UI how much is left. That's particularly dangerous. In the north here, 3 squads going off to chase off this Rifleman squad. Plenty of firepower left up there. Minesweeper upgrade for Nystrom. He's clearly taken note of the trouble he was having in the moving through the middle with that, with the mines, and has taken some action. We do see now that Sepha, I can't quite believe he's managed this, but he has. He put an observation post on his fuel at some point and has now teched tier 4, and from the Panzer plant he's already has his first Panther on the field. Perhaps one of the reasons we're seeing he is losing a little bit of map presence, not helped by the Pioneers going down there. Yeah, he's obviously invested a great deal of resources into getting some tech out. Got that Panther on the field, pushing down now down this left-hand side. Is it trying to chase down that Calliope? Obviously, the Calliope, stronger units is. Oh, the Panther now coming up from behind. Gets the rear armor hit. Oh, just thinking back now, if only he'd got the engine critical on that, he wouldn't be able to run away at all. Another powerful shot there. Does a lot of damage. He is going to get sticky. The Panther shooting at the frontal armor. Another Calliope comes in from the back. Huge damage going down on those flanking Grenadier squads. They are going to don't go down, but do take a lot of damage. The Panther 2 takes some damage of its own. The Panther has now shown its rear armor to the Calliope. I'm not sure I like that idea, but we'll have to see. Another damage engine critical on there. I'm not sure if that stacks and gets slowed down even more. The Calliope now. Very low health, but is backing away. Is it going to be able to keep out of sight of that Panther or not? Panther is now moving in. Looks like it will be able to get one more shot off. Will it be enough to take it down? It is enough to take it down. Second Calliope pushing forward now, trying to chase away and do the last bit of damage to this Panther. At the very low health, the Rifleman in behind, doing the damage with the sticky bombs. At various intervals, another sticky bomb goes down. I'm not sure that half-track is really helping that at all. Destroyed engine on the Panther. The Panther looks like it's in big trouble now. I wonder if that Calliope will choose to circle around the building, take out the damage. Another shot deflects. It's relatively high. It's got the veterancy. Rifleman going in now, pushing off. Another shot. Another deflection there. A little bit of luck. Does the sticky bomb do the damage? No, it doesn't. The Panther does still survive. Calliope choosing to come in again. Another deflection. This Rifleman squad might now be chased away. There's plenty of units on the field. The Tiger Race now coming in. Nystrom not impressed. Does it survive again? It does! Another survival. That 5% bug here, as described in an earlier video. Still surviving. Nystrom not impressed at all. The Tiger Race now on the field, supported by some infantry, is going to be able to chase away this Calliope. Kills the Calliope. Takes it out in almost one shot. That Tiger Race now is going to be very powerful indeed. One Volksgrenadier squad does go down though by way of recompense. These low health or low model number Grenadier squads pushing forward in the middle. The half-track is there to try and help out. We do see the first time I've seen this, or one of the earliest times I remember this being upgraded in a 1 versus 1. The walking Stucker upgrade for the half-track. It can do, wow, today is a very powerful upgrade, of course, can do a lot of damage over the course of the game if you're able to keep it alive, but of course because of that awkward bug with the Axis artillery, they aren't as powerful in this, although he looks like he's gone for the retreating squads, going to try and take those out in the base. I'm going to see if I can capture that. Oh no, it's raining down on where he assumes that the barracks will be, isn't able to get a kill there. In the meantime, a Rifleman squad and engineers pushing out here are going to get chased away relatively soon, I would expect, by this Grenadier squad upgraded with the LMG. Should be able to push it away quite nicely. This Tiger Race, look at it lumbering its way over into the middle. From the middle over to this side, trying to chase it away. Sepha now does have, he's got the power units on the field, you know, he's got that Panther and the Tiger Race, but both of them kind of crippled at this stage. I wouldn't say that Nystrom has a lot of units on the field, but maybe the power units we see here are not quite the force that they might be in other circumstances. We also note that Sepha is very low on manpower. He's got obviously very high upkeep units on the field, so he isn't going to have a lot of income there. So these low squads are going to remain low unless he's able to. Going to remain low for a little while. Looks like he is just about getting them back to full health though, as I say that. A few Pioneer squads on the field as well. Grenade going in there. A little bit of swapping of grenades. Both players clearly very on top of things, able to move out of the way. Tiger Race slowly lumbering its way over to kind of turn the tide of this battle. The other grenade goes in there from Nystrom. Is it enough? Not quite enough to take out the squad. A little bit lucky there, I think, those grenadiers to get away with that. Of course, grenades are very inconsistent, even today. Although the accuracy of them is a little bit better, and back in these builds, it was incredibly unpredictable where they would go just because of the spread that grenades had. Yeah, they're a little bit more accurate today, but of course still the damage you can never quite predict. It depends a lot on the health of the squad members and how close those grenades are. Huge wall of sandbags here by Seph, really locking down that middle, preventing access to the church for one thing. Of course we can't hop over the sandbags like we can in Company of Heroes 2. Those mortars are really doing a great job by Nystrom. It was a good choice, I think, to go for mortars. Maybe 2 is slightly overkill, but seems to be doing well. Let's see how the Stuka's aimed at. I would think he's aiming for this area here, but we'll have to see. Yeah, there we go. Oh, well, looks like one mortar did go down there. A lot of misses, but enough hits to turn the tide of this battle. Oof, those riflemen may go down as well. Another damaged engine critical on this Panther. That might be the 4th that it's had to deal with this game so far, but as we mentioned before, Seph's got enough pioneers on the field. He can get that back fighting fit and causing trouble on the battlefield relatively quickly, I would think. Now, the battle control has been pretty much in favor of Nystrom for much of this game. Oh, and a Pershing now on the field. That can really help to turn the tide. He's going to need that extra bulk. It's going to be a little bit tricky with no AT guns on the field and no other armor to kind of prevent it from being swarmed by the Tiger Race, but it is obviously with that strong frontal armor a decent match with all the Axis heavy tanks. The trouble is he doesn't have a great deal of units on the field, it looks like, to kind of support it. Very low health squads here. Looks like he's kind of taking his chance. He does get a sticky up on it, on the Tiger Race, maybe just trying to buy time. Although the sticky doesn't get the damaged engine critical that he so desperately needed at that point. Could have really helped. The Panther is way out of position, isn't helping this engagement at all. Hiding in the middle, Pershing does get another rear armor hit. Munitions in the bank for... Wow, look at that. That was a bit crazy. Munitions in the bank is pretty low. He does get another one. Gets the damage engine critical this time. Is in a position where his Pershing should win this engagement, I would think. Could be a huge moment. The Panther's still completely out of position. Another sticky bomb goes off. Tiger Ace in big trouble. Doesn't get the destroyed engine that he needs. The Pershing is just pushing in there, desperate to get the kill. Does get the kill, gets itself up to up to level 2 veterancy. Is now going to try and run its way out of there. It looks like the Panther gets the shot, but doesn't get the damage engine critical. That is absolutely crucial. Will the Pershing get away? Just needs to get out of vision range, and it does manage to get out of vision range. Gets back to base. Can hopefully survive in there long enough to get repaired, although there's only this one low health engineer squad on the field, although there is a second one over here, long way out of position. Good, very good engagement there by Nystrom, although now with the addition of an Ostwind on the field to clear up the infantry support, this really changes things a little bit. It's getting a little bit tricky for... one thing that's getting a little tricky for Nystrom is that he has been behind in victory points for most of this game and is now down to just 120. I think he's in the position where he's accruing a bit of veterancy. A few of his squads are accruing a bit of veterancy, as you can see on the right hand side. He's sort of getting a growing amount of bulk. He can kind of engage, fight these battles, but yeah, looks like it may be in a bit of trouble. He does now have the tank depot. Has a Sherman to support his Pershing, so he's in a good position now. He looks like he should have the advantage of the heavy armor. Obviously frustrated by the Panther surviving earlier. That was really tricky. Sepha, honest and honest as always, says, yep, he was a lucky one. He sure was. Yeah, I think if Nystrom was in a position where he had another 100 victory points in the bank, he would kind of have enough time to get everything up, to get everything back fighting fit and back out on the field. Something strange just happened. I'm not exactly sure what those noises were. It might have been a bug noise of knocking down some barbed wire that was around next to the bases. I'm not exactly sure. Yeah, but the Pershing, of course, with a bit of veterancy, can stand up pretty nicely against the Panther, is the point I'm trying to make here. If only had a little bit more time to get some more support on the field. We still see no veterancy for the Axis units. So he does have an advantage in that point. Already veterancy 1 on this Sherman. No upgun yet that I can see. Yeah, no upgun. So that's a little bit challenging. It looks like a unit did go down. Oof. Okay, looks like I might have missed that. Exactly how much damage was lost there on the Pershing. I'll have to check that quickly on the when I'm reviewing this. He's really sitting in a dangerous position there. I'm not sure I would just be sitting with my Pershing right next to that. Meanwhile, on this side, the Ostwind is coming over and chasing away. The Ostwind survives without having engine damage. Meanwhile, the Pershing goes down to the Panther. I think now we're looking at a really tough situation for Nystrom. And it's very tricky. Why doesn't my Pershing get 5 deflections? It's a good question. I think a question we've all been forced to ask ourselves at some point. Yep, I did notice those sticky bombs not doing the damage as well. I do think that engagement earlier in the middle, that's what I remember very vividly. That's my memory of the 5% bug. This like kind of quintessential example I remember of the 5% bug is that is that Panther in the middle surviving shot after shot after shot and not going down when it seems like it's destined for the scrap heap. But I think on the whole, this has been a very good game. It's incredibly close. A little late in the game, obviously, Sepha's been able to kind of take the lead and really push forward, capture the win. He thinks he had it. He may well have had it. I think it was probably closer than he thought in the middle. It could have been anyone's game. But surely the Panther really made a huge difference. Should have made a motor pool for some AT guns. Yep, absolutely. As we were saying before, like when you're up against that heavy Axis armor, you kind of need a little bit, something a little bit stronger than a Calliope or just a Calliope or two to take on those big tanks, heavy tanks, particularly when you're talking about a Panther and a Tiger Ace, the two of the strongest units on the field. Again, Nystrom making a good point there about how much quicker the Tiger Ace used to come on the field than the Pershing, something we reflected on in the earlier video. There was something that was changed in, I believe, 1.4, where the, or it might be 1.5 even, where the armor company was sort of redistributed a little bit. Nerfed in some ways that make taking the Calliope to the other side of the tree, but buffed in others by making the Pershing come out a little bit quicker, so it could compete a little bit better with the Tiger Ace when that came onto the field. Actually, reflecting on this, the speed with which the Tiger Ace came onto the field in these early builds was absolutely absurd. I think, unfortunately, Nystrom has kind of given up now. It doesn't look like he's really reinforcing. Calling in another Pershing, kind of it's a bit of a hit and hope, I think, situation here. He's obviously lost that veterans he had on the first one, which is really tough to take. He's just going to get a nice cut-off on this this far side. Oh, decides against actually. I think he's noticed how desperate the victory point situation is. But I think you can see his heart's not really in it anymore. Wants to have a bit of fun with this Pershing and see what he can manage. But yeah, this as good a tank as the Pershing is not going to be enough to take on this Tiger Ace. I wouldn't imagine. Particularly the support of the Panther now coming in from the side. Very strong shot off there. The Tiger Ace really just did so much damage. Look at that. That was another huge penetration as well. I think maybe Nystrom might be over microing this. Not getting the shots off that he wants to. Taking a lot of damage in the meantime. And looks like he has chosen to tap out at that point. Well, I hope you'll agree that was an exciting game. I think a lot hinged on that important engagement in the middle. With the Panther and the Calliope, and it could have really gone either way depending on how that engagement went. Nystrom clearly frustrated by that engagement, and Sepha a little bit philosophical about the whole thing, reflecting on how he did get a little bit of luck there perhaps. Nonetheless, I think that was a really exciting game. I hope you've enjoyed it, and I hope you'll join me as we move forward onto patch 1.4 for the next little, the next phase of Company of Heroes history. Thanks for joining in.